What's going on, everyone? Lamelo Ball, the real chosen Ball brother. He is far and away the best of the trio, and he is a guy that, from the moment he came into the league as the 3 pick with the Charlotte Hornets, has just really been a highlight reel. Has really been a solid player, solid contributor. He's still 21 years old and has just been very solid, 6'7", so he's got good size, handles the ball, does a little bit of everything, and has just been a real just quality player with lots of growth, lots of potential for the Charlotte Hornets, and is the guy that they're building their future around. He's had 3 years of experience, but problem is he's starting to show signs of that injury history. He played 36 games this year. In those 36 games, though, he did give you 23 points, 8 assists, 6.5 rebounds. So I mean, the guy's nearly a triple-double a night, right? Plays defense, gives you about a steal and a half to 2 steals per game, gets you some block shots, shoots free throws well at 85%. He's career 83%, but 2 years ago he shot 87. This year he shot 84. He's a guy that shoots 45% from the field. He shoots 38% from three. So 3-level scorer, legit 3-level scorer, high IQ, just ball player. Injuries are a real thing. And because of injuries, it really begs the question of what should Charlotte do? Now, I'm not saying Charlotte should do this, but do you just sell high on Lamelo Ball now before you start seeing the signs of Lonzo? Lonzo was and has the potential to be an incredible player. He really worked on his shot and became a very solid three-point shooter. Great defensive guard, great court vision. I mean, dude is just, again, a highlight reel, right? Lonzo is a real baller when he is healthy and on the court. Problem is that they think that he may never play basketball again, and they can't seem to figure out what is wrong with his knee, right? You've heard the reports, he's seen like 7, 8 doctors and nobody can figure out what's wrong with Lonzo. Could it be just like a genetic thing? Could it be just a deteriorating thing? It sucks to say, but you have Lonzo who had this injury and now he may never pick up a basketball again. And now you have LaMelo who's starting to have those injuries and having those concerns. And granted, it's not the same, but still, like, can LaMelo stay healthy? And if you're the Charlotte Hornets and you're seeing Melo and him starting to get injured regularly, you're got to be looking at Lonzo and go, like, could that be him in the next 2 or 3 years? And if that is even a question, do you move off of the All-Star now while you can get a good package? Do you trade LaMelo to, I don't know, a team like the Blazers and get the number 3 pick? I mean, Charlotte has the number 2 pick, so do you try to get the number 3 pick and get maybe Simons or something like that in the process as well? Or do you trade him to I don't know, do you just try to unload him and get him to a team that, hey, like this, Detroit, right? Maybe you trade him to Detroit for a package or something. Can you get like Ivy and, what do they have, the 5th pick? I don't know. It's worth a thought. And you trade LaMelo and draft Scoot Henderson, right? Scoot Henderson is killing it in draft workouts right now. He's a guy that has all the potential in the world, could be very solid. Many people believe he is the next franchise cornerstone for a franchise that drafts him. And if that's the case, like, do you just take him at number 2, trade LaMelo, and then build around Scoot, who is, he's 19, LaMelo's 21, so, it's not that far of a difference, but you got like 2 extra years, you got Scoot, you figure out what you're going to do with Miles Bridges, right? What do you do with PJ Washington? And maybe kind of try to retool and rebrand around Scoot Henderson, try to go get a young package for LaMelo. and just say like, hey, we like Scoot more. You just keep it low key. Like, hey, we really like Scoot Henderson. There's nobody else that really stands out to us the way that Scoot does. But if we end up taking Scoot, then we don't have. The question is, do we keep LaMelo? So we're just kind of shopping him and just trying to gauge interest and see what the bite is. Now, if no one's offering you anything like significant, don't trade him. You don't have to trade him, right? But do you put some feelers out and just see like what kind of packages can you get? What kind of pieces can you get for a LaMelo Ball? And do you try to get ahead of the potential like this guy can't stay healthy? Because it's amazing how quickly the injury bug can happen, right? I mean, Lonzo was fine. He had a little knick-knack stuff here and there, but with the Lakers, he was fine, and then he goes to the Pelicans, and he's fine, and then, he has that injury, and then goes to Chicago, and he's looking good in Chicago. He's shooting well, he's playing defense, he's setting guys up. Like, Lonzo was supposed to be the missing piece for Chicago. Lonzo was supposed to be the guy that puts it all together. Your defensive point guard, your playmaker, guy that's unselfish, that doesn't need the basketball, that can get the ball to DeMar in his spot, get the ball to Levine in his spot, set up Vu, all that stuff. Like, the idea was brilliant. The idea was great. But then he just started falling apart, got the injury, and they can't figure out what's wrong with him, and he may never play again. Do you worry about that with LaMelo and his now injury history, where he's starting to get injured and he's starting to show signs of like, can this guy stay healthy? And if that's the case, do you let that go be somebody? It's the Zion question, right? Like, do the Pelicans just trade Zion Williamson and let him go be somebody else's problem and get a great solid package? You don't have to trade him, but if you can find a good enough return, why not? It's kind of what my thought process is with LaMelo. The difference is that the Pelicans don't have a replacement for Zion, where the Hornets hold the keys and can go get LaMelo's replacement in Scoot Henderson, right? So you draft Scoot Henderson, you trade LaMelo for some quality pieces, and now all of a sudden you're sitting great, right? You're sitting high. You got a nice young package, nice young core, nice young rebuild. Can you trade them to like the Knicks? Would the Knicks sell on that? I mean, the Knicks have tons of young players. They also, not only do they have tons of young players, but they also have a treasure trove of draft picks. I mean, they have so many draft picks, they're falling out of their pockets, right? So do you do something like that, draft Scoot Henderson, and then maybe try to sell LaMelo to the Knicks and get like, an RJ Barrett, Grimes, and I don't know, 2 firsts, something like that, right? Not bad. Have a backcourt of Scoot Henderson and Grimes. And then, maybe you could look to maybe trade PJ Washington or Miles Bridges, because now you got Barrett. And there you go. Now you're now you got this like little core that you can kind of build around. I don't know. Look, LaMelo, without a doubt, is an incredible player and an incredible talent, right? I mean, there's no question about that. And he's 21 years old, so he's very likely going to only improve, only going to get better, and he's very likely going to be a fixture and all-star for the next 10 years if he can stay healthy. But again, that's the big concern. Can he stay healthy? If he can stay healthy, then yeah, you draft LaMelo you draft somebody else and you keep LaMelo and you leave it at that, right? And you let Scoot Henderson go to like the Blazers or whatever, and let them figure it out. But I don't know. Again, I'm not saying that they should do this. I'm not saying that they will do this. I don't think they would do, even if they draft Scoot Henderson, I don't think they'll trade LaMelo. I think they'll just trade Terry Rozier and they'll try to run Scoot at the 1 and then LaMelo at the 2 and go that route. And then maybe trade them. Maybe if it doesn't work, trade one of them at some point. But realistically, they'll probably just pick whoever they're going to pick and keep LaMelo. But it is at least worth the conversation. It is at least worth the discussion, in my opinion. It does beg a real question of like, will LaMelo start falling apart like Lonzo? And he's already starting to get the injury bug. If that continues, can you actually win with him? Right? Where Scoot Henderson is just, that dude looks like a tank, man. That guy is just massive. And he's looking like he may be a guy that lives up to the hype. Now, he's also not as big and tall, right? Again, LaMelo's, 6'6", 6'7", where Scoot is like 6'2", 6'3". But I think there's a case. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Do you agree? Disagree? What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's at least worth a conversation, right? Put your feelers out there, kind of say, hey, what are your thoughts? Like, what kind of packages can you get for LaMelo, right? You don't have to trade him. Put it out there. If you don't get a package that blows you away, then keep him, right? But what if somebody is willing to, give you some credit? What if the Blazers are like, we'll give you Simons, Sharp, and the number 3 pick for LaMelo? That'd be kind of hard to turn down. Now you got the number 2 and 3 pick in this year's draft. On top of that, you get Sharp, who is great, and you get Simons. Again, not saying they will, but what if you do? What if you do get a team like that? What if you do? What if the Knicks are hungry for a star? The Knicks might give you whatever you want, right? Can you get a Robinson in the deal? Can you get Robinson, Barrett, and Grimes, right? I don't know. I get put it out there and see what happens. But what do you think? Let me know.